popping on.
Okay, I want everyone to give me a little bit of grace because this is the first time I've done this in my 23 years of Women of Today. So, yay. So I'm just going to talk about some of the new things that happened with the task force success, and then I'm just going to kind of give you a little bit of a screenshot of each section with the new numbering and all of that, and just go through some of the things that I found last year that people didn't know or were unsure of, and then just some reminders of some other things. Um, so that's kind of what's going to happen where we are here. Um, okay, so the first screen that I have is I have a picture of the old form and the new form. And so I'm just going to bring it up a little close so you can see the difference. There's not a lot of changes, but I think it'll help us when we are doing our verification um, numbering. So let's see if I can do this. All right. So let's see. Come on now. All right. Um, okay. So we'll just kind of do the programming part because that shows up better. Oh, just a minute. I lost my PowerPoint. There it is. Okay. So in the old form, we had under membership, we had the A through K, and then under meetings, it went A through whatever. So we always had to write out meetings A, membership C, that type of thing. Um, but in the new form, we have each section has its own letter and then we number them. So when you go in to do your verification, and we'll go to chapter management instead of the first two because you don't need to verify anything. But when you do your monthly board minutes or agenda, you would put C1 in there instead of, membership A or chapter management C or B. So that is going to be a lot easier and for you as a member and a lot easier for me as the coordinator to find your information. We also changed, you'll notice first and second trimester only. It used to say submission. And with that change, it helps us to know that, I'm just going to use an example. First submission of, let's say, bonus points for the Bonanza, the big one that we do in the first trimester. Um, so let's just say in second trimester, you submitted the Bonanza bonus because that's your first submission. And so that's not what we want. We want it to be a certain trimester and not submission. So where that shows up is where we need to do it for trimester, not for the submission. Does that make any sense? I hope it does. Um, then one of the other things that we decided to do was to put the list of the project of the trimesters and just kind of move that section up underneath the project of the trimester so they're kind of grouped together. And then your bonus points below are grouped together. And then our totals and all of that are put together. Programming is all put together in one, and your bonus points are put together in one. And we'll see those further into the thing when into the PowerPoint when I look at each section. Okay. Okay, oops. All right, so I just put a few things in here. Changes to the form. Again, we have each section has its own letter and an item has its own number to coordinate with the section, so that will make it easier. And the word submission was changed to trimester, so it indicates a specific item when a specific item is due in a trimester. And then again, the totals in the programming areas were combined and the bonuses were combined. Changes to the guidelines. We just did some housekeeping things along with lettering and numbering so it matches the form, the submission trimester so it matches the form. We also found in the guidelines that there was a letter L section, and that was not on the form. Thinking that this was just forgotten when they changed the guidelines the last time, it was forgotten to take out. So we just made sure that that was taken out so it matches the form. Also, the U.S. Women of Today updated the steps, the success through enthusiastic participation. They now are steps 1 through 3, and there's a new definition of step 3. So that is now in the guidelines, so it's more clear. So we'll break down the membership section so you can just see it a little bit closer. Just wanted to throw out a couple things. Membership section is verified by the Chapter Service Center. And that's where we get the information for the new member ads. If you had your early birds in on time, that's where I get all my information to verify the information that you put on the form. Just wanted to let you know that the in-chapter extension, the 4 members in a month, not a trimester. Also, points cannot be used for both 75% and 100% retention. It's one or the other. So if you have retention from 75 to 99, you get the 25 points for 75% retention. If you have the 100, then you get the 50. For the meeting section, attendance by those on Minnesota or US staff or exec council are not considered for success points for meetings. So if you're the district director and you go to your district meeting, your attendance doesn't count for success because you need to be there. And it's the same with regional meetings. The business meeting, if you're on exec council, your attendance doesn't count for success. And the same with the national, if you're on national staff. For B4 and 5, it's really helpful to put down the attendees' names at national convention, or if you attend a committee, put down what committee you are attended and your name. It just helps me make sure that I get all the information. Another one is the President State Delegate Retreat. It's 25 points for the president and 25 points for the state delegate. So if just one or the other attend, then it's 25 points. Chapter management, that's a big one. I just want to help you out with the front page of the board meetings is the only thing needed. If you have the date and your chapter on that agenda, that's all you need. You don't need to send more than one page. And for the quorum, as long as you have that your quorum is established, you can get those points. If you didn't establish a quorum, then the points are not awarded. There's a new thing that was brought up when we had our task force, and that was for the donations to Ways and Means. If your chapter wants to donate the $35 for all 3 trimesters at one time, we will accept that, although it does need to be given on the first trimester and indicated that you're doing $35 or $50 per trimester. then you only need to send in one check, and I will make sure that that gets accounted for all 3 trimesters for you. So either way, you can do it either way, but if you choose to do all 3 trimesters, we need it to be submitted first trimester. The treasury reports must have the date and the beginning and ending balance included. And sometimes I get the whole newsletter, and that is not necessary if you don't want to attach it. You only really need the front page of the newsletter for verification that you do a newsletter. You just need to ensure that the chapter and date are included on the front page. Now, if you have other verification in that newsletter, then by all means, I mean, put all of it in there. But if you're just doing it for the PR piece, you just need to do the front page. For the public relation program, for example, you can only use an item once. So I have a lot of chapters that use the brochure like the first trimester. And then after that, a newsletter article, a Facebook page showing that you're promoting your project can be used. Facebook can be used more than once, but like your brochure can only be used once for your PR. The first part of the programming, this was one that I talked to some people about quite often this year, and they didn't know that you could combine these in any order. So if for your 100 points, you can have them in any combination. So you could have 50 points in community connections and 50 points in youth of today, or you could have, 25 in women's wellness, 25 in youth, and 50 in community connections. So you can combine those in any form. Because some chapters don't do all of the programming areas. So that gives everyone the opportunity to get those 100 points. Another thing that came across last year was projects can only be claimed once, and they can only be claimed in one area. So, for example, I mean, I know a lot of people have book clubs or walking clubs and these type of things, and these can only be used once, like book club for living and learning or walking club for women's wellness. We just need to find something else to put in those areas once you've used that project. And then projects need to have happened in order to count for points. So in our minutes, we can't use that we're gonna have a picnic on Founders Day at so and so's house. It needs to have happened. So that would need to be in like August minutes that we had our Founders Day at a pool and we had a potluck and 17 members came and that type of thing. We just need to make sure that the projects happened in order to count the points. U.S. Women of Today programming participate in a promotion from the U.S. Um, a domestic violence project or an educational presentation. If you have a speaker, that can count once a year for each area. So if you have a person coming in to talk about domestic violence, you can use that for your 25 points, but in second trimester, you would need to have something else, a project or, you could raise money and donate it to a shelter or in kind for the U.S. promotion only. And then your steps, of course, are 10 points apiece and your wellness. And as you can see, the CMVP the chapter management vice president will be verifying the step, and your living and learning SPM will verify the wellness and personal development certifications. So our Minnesota programming, Again, we put the trimester listings underneath that, which I think is really working out, will work out really nice. The definition of the personal enrichment program, let me see what I got here. Um, a personal enrichment program certification should have been submitted to the Living and Learning State Program Manager, or you can include a copy of the personal enrichment certification with the success submission. So um, we we need to have the Living and Learning SPM will confirm that you had a PEP course that was approved. Okay. And if you're doing new PEP courses, that's amazing. It's just that we do need to have the Living and Learning SPM and Programming Vice President have them approved um, for when you submit those. Okay. Um, Participate in a program with another nonprofit. This must be a project, not monetary donation. Um, and then please indicate what your nonprofit organization that you are working with in your verification. And it cannot be another Women of Today chapter. And then please list those who attended webinar. I know sometimes the list that I get is very hard to read. And that's why I think Tanya's having you sign in once we're recording, so then they all are in one page, because sometimes I get two pages and it's really confusing for me for verification. So if you want to list the people who attended the webinar in your verification or in your minutes, that would be great. Yes. And then for your number 4 is kind of confusing because I forgot some of the words, but this is regarding the project of the trimester. And these are verified by the state program manager. However, if you have a copy of the email received that you submitted your project of the trimester, you can certainly submit that with your submission and for the points. And then again, the donation to the foundation, we will take that donation for all 3 trimesters as well. Again, needing to be in the first trimester that you would submit all 3. Really, there's nothing to talk too much to about this area. The presidential bonus points are submitted in the president's and the chapter management vice president's chapter information packets. And so you can find those for each trimester, and you can list the ones that you did in this area here for your points. And then the bonus bonanza points are in the guidelines, and those are first trimester only. Then this is just the success totals where you have your programming totaling up together and your bonus points totaling. So it's just a different format. You're pretty much putting the same thing in. So I just threw in a couple of things that
Jojo, excuse me. Before you go further, Doreen has a question. Doreen, do you want to just ask the question, please?
Sure.
So if I have a member that is on the state staff, but then also holds the president's position or any other position in the chapter, can they then be counted as attendees to the meetings?
If they are, say that again, if they're
on state staff, but they also hold a chapter position.
No, if they're your chapter president and they go to the district meeting, they can be counted.
Okay.
Yeah. If they can't be counted for like the state meeting because they have to be there. Does that make sense?
Okay. Okay. So if they go to the state meeting,
yes,
they cannot be counted even if they hold a chapter position because they're required to be at the state meeting. Got it. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions so far? Okay. Once I receive your submission, I will either call you, text you, or email you indicating that your submission was received. If you don't hear from me within 24 hours, please contact me or resend it. And I do check the spam and all of that. So if you don't hear from me, please let me know because I want to make sure that I don't miss anybody's submission. So with verification, points can be added or subtracted, and I will contact you and we'll chat about the differences and we can, look at what you've got and we'll make a decision together, okay? If you don't have verifications, let me know. You can have up to a week prior to conventions to get them to me. Because once we get to that point, I'm turning in the certificates or the points to have certificates printed, and then we cannot change the points. So what I mean is, let's say you send in your minutes and you don't have verification that, what can I use for an example? Let me see. Sorry about that. I can't think of an example right now, but if you don't have a verification in your minutes and you were going to put it, let's say you're going to put it in your newsletter and your newsletter wasn't complete yet. Just let me know that the verification is coming and then we'll work that through. And we just need to make sure the verification gets to me prior to the week before convention, and we can get those points in there for you. Does that make sense? Projects must be 20 to 30 minutes in length to qualify for a success, to call it a project. Gift card and in-kind donations are not considered a project. I want you to ensure that when you do your verifications, you can look to see where, if it's somebody on exec council that's doing the verifications. So if it's the chapter, ensure that your information is in the minutes or your newsletter. Another thing is please ensure that your submissions have page numbers. Sometimes you put the page numbers on the submission on the form, but they're not on the page, and it just makes it a little bit harder to match things up. Once I've gone through your submission, I'm sorry.
I don't know how to raise my hand or anything when I'm just on the phone call instead of on the video, so just the audio.
Okay, just talk away.
Okay, when you're saying the project must be 20 to 30 minutes in length.
Yes.
Do you mean that they must be at least 20 to 30 minutes in length?
Yes.
At least. Yep. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So if it ends up being 4 hours, so be it. But it just can't be, it's got to be a substantial project. And in the guidelines, it says 20 to 30 minutes. So I just wanted to kind of reiterate that.
I have a question. Can our verification be in our consent agendas instead of our minutes?
If the consent agenda is attached to your minutes, yes. As long as I can see that you've done that and you've listed, 12 members came, we raised this much money, blah, blah, blah. The information is in there and shows that you've done the project. Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
And then, so once I've gone through your submission, and if we've had to have, a chat about one thing or another, I will always get back to you via phone, text, or email with your final points, so you are aware of that, before convention. Okay. Remember to always keep a copy of your submission that is sent to me. You never know when something's going to get lost, and I just would hate to miss it. So if you can just make sure that you keep a copy for yourself, that would be great. The form and the guidelines can be found on the Chapter Management Vice President page. We also do have another form that's, hang on one second. It's kind of just a success tool that you can find also on the Chapter Management Vice President page, although that does need to be updated yet. And Tanya and I'll work together and get that updated and get it on the website shortly after this webinar. We'll get it, start working on that. So just want to make sure that you know that there's some other little guidelines that you can look at. So if your chapter is interested in completing a success submission and you haven't done it before, please contact me and I will come and I will work on it with you. We can, work together, and so you feel comfortable with it. I know sometimes it can be a big task, and I think if we can work together and get you started, I think that you will really like it. I know there's a lot of people that do success really enjoy putting it together, and I know I did. Another one, if you have any questions about current, if you have any, feel free to reach out to me. I am always here to help you. My email is success@mnwt.org, and my phone number is 612-709-2717. So feel free to call me. If I don't have your phone number in my phone, I usually don't answer my phone. I'm going to tell you that, to leave a voicemail and I'll call you right back. So are there any questions?
Jojo, this is Kathy from St. Joe. I have two questions for you.
Sure.
So we don't have to send you verification that someone in the chapter completed living and learning or their women's the wellness, the US one, because those are all done by the programming and the living and learning, right? So do we have to have do we even have to have that in our minutes?
No.
Okay.
Now, there was a couple of different places that I saw that you needed to have copies to verify.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that we found all of those and got rid of them.
Okay.
And so, yeah, living and learning
Okay.
certifications are through the living and learning state program manager and
Yes.
also the personal wellness. And then the CMVP will verify STEP.
Okay. And one other question. I'm kind of old school. I'm old school. Do you also accept it through the mail?
Yes, and that will need to be postmarked by the date that success is due.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
And
once
I receive that in the mail,
yes,
I will email or call or text with the number and email at the top of your success form.
Okay. Thank you.
So I'll use that. So make sure that's legible.
Yes.
Sometimes it's kind of hard.
Yes.
So.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You bet.
So if we're having the government center light up their dome lights for Founders Day, is just putting it in the minutes that they did it enough?
You asked them to do that for you?
Yeah.
I think so. You're promoting Women of Today that way.
Yeah. And there would be a blurb that would go out on the radio stations, that kind of thing, along with it.
Just make sure that what you did is in your minutes.
Okay.
And you're good to go. Anything else? Okay, so there was one more thing I just wanted to bring up. My chapter president this year brought up that I did the programming vice president position last year, and I had done a trifold with hands And she wanted me to just kind of show you what I did because some people were interested in that. And so I did this kind of for twofold. I kind of did this for myself and for the chapter, just so they can see all the things that we do. So for everything that we did, I made a hand for it. I put how many hours, service hours we had, how many members attended, the date, the community connections, youth of today, and then just this helped me pull and for myself, it helped me pull my report together, my programming report together at the end of the trimester, because I could look to see the dates and I could just write it right off of that. I also for socials, like we have burgers and bingo the last Tuesday of every month. So I just made this little bingo card and wrote down, who attended and the date. So I just, kind of put stuff up for our socials, our certifications. Let's see, I can't reach down here, but meetings, when someone went to Fall State to the business meeting, or if someone went to committee meetings or the district meeting, district socials, when we went to district socials, I just kind of just added a hand, and it just gave a nice little visual to the members on just how much we do in our little town. And it was kind of fun. I brought, from the month prior, the last prior meeting, I just brought the hands and popped them up there, and it was just kind of fun. And I think the members enjoyed it as well. So just wanted to kind of,
That's cute. I like that.
it kind of helps just
Yeah.
have a visual of what we do. And well, I just think we just don't realize how much of an impact we make in our little towns, and this just kind of helps the members see that. So it was kind of fun doing that last year, and I just wanted to, Jenny had talked about it at lots, and so I just wanted to kind of show you what I did, and I've done a couple different things like this, and it's a lot of fun. So anyway,
Did
I
you
think
go through that,
that's
Jojo, at each of your meetings then?
yeah. I brought the trifold
Yeah.
every meeting. And if we did one project, I had one hand, but I always had the little bingo cards to put up there. And if we had a meeting or whatever, like our toy bingo, just the different
Sure.
things we did for youth of today, I just kind of separated them out. We did a lot of community connections and socials and stuff this year. So it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Cool.
That is really cool.
All
Great
right.
job, Jojo. Thank you for all the information. Does anybody have any other questions for Jojo? Now's your chance.
If not, my number, I have a little one-page CIP in with chapter management vice president, and all my information, my phone number, the address, and email is on that sheet too. But so feel free to call me anytime, and I'll do my best to answer your questions.
Thanks, Jojo. We appreciate all you do.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks,
All right.
Jojo.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jojo.
So now we have Jane Hansen.
Woo-hoo.
Woohoo!
Give me 1 second and I'll get her point thing up here.
Okay.
So many great faces. Look at all you great faces.
And they're all smiling.
They are.
I will share here. Can you see the Word document?
Yep, now we can.
Okay.
Can you make it a little bigger
Yep.
for us people who need it a little bigger?
Okay. Hang on 1 second.
Yep.
Okay. There you go.
Okay. So what we're going to talk about is some people have asked like what can they do to get recognition at convention or you know, I truly know that when you sit there at the business meeting and your chapter never gets called, that's not fun. So for some people have asked about like what do we need to do to get recognized, get awards. So we're just going to go over some of these, and please speak up when if you want, or if you have questions, that's fine. So the first thing is fast start. So most of your chapter board officer positions have a fast start that's due July 15th. Membership vice president, chapter president, programming vice president, treasurer, secretary, parliamentarian, and local program managers have fast starts also for each of their areas. So these would all be in the CIPs to tell you like where to send them to, what you need to do, because each one varies a little bit. But this is just really important for your local boards to do. It's just exactly that. It helps them get off to a fast start, understand their position. There's some things in each of these, like treasurer for sure. Here's some things that treasurer needs to do to get off to start for the year. Maybe it's changing your signatures at the bank, or doing some of those things that are important to get going in that position. So if your chapter hasn't done these, I really recommend, you still have got time to for them to work on those before July 15th. And honestly, I'm guessing most of these, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but I'm guessing most of those will take them even if they're a little late, because they just want to see you get off to a fast start and see you do those positions. So July 15th is the date, but I would just say get them in as soon as you can. So every trimester, almost all of the staff and SPMs have challenges. So I did go through and just kind of looked at a few, and I apologize for any positions that I might have missed something. But I encourage you to, especially if you're the chapter president, you should be glancing through all of the CIPs just to kind of see what's out there as you give those CIPs to the people in your chapter. So that the challenges that I found for the first trimester, memberships got some foundation incentives. For one new member is a $10 gift store certificate. 3 members is a $30 check from the foundation, and 5 members is a $50 check from the foundation. So that's not exactly recognition, but it's money, and that's always good. And it helps too to kind of get people excited about membership. And I know this last trimester, we were 1 away from getting to that 15 members, and we got it, and then we got $100 check. That's pretty cool. Programming vice president, it was to review the CIP and complete the fast start. And I believe most of these have some kind of a drawing or something in that they will be doing at convention. Marketing, the Fall State Project Fair being held on Friday night. They will have voting for paper marketing materials. So please email your newsletters, brochures, or flyers you'd like to enter in the contest, and they print them out and have them there for people to look at. If you have a different type of paper promotion you market with, please bring that as well and provide the marketing, Andrea, prior to the start of the project fair. Also submit an article. Just a second, somebody's put something in the chat box and it's over my script. There we go. Submit an article to newslet, send submissions to the newslet. There's the address. And for that challenge, for this challenge is the first trimester to be eligible for the incentive. So Marketing Madness, there's a social media liking, sharing, double elimination tournament. I didn't understand this very well, but look at the CIP, and if you have questions on it, then you reach out to Andrea, and she can help you with that. I didn't quite understand how that was all working, but I think it sounds fun, and you should check it out. Secretary, donation to the state plan of action by August 31st and be entered in a drawing. Submit your fast start by the July 15th. Oh, I think that was another drawing. And submit your district or chapter meeting minutes for review, and that's another drawing. Chairman of the board, send an email to update Shirley on ways you'll be supporting your president. So that's for other chairman of the boards. Community connections, first trimester project promotion. I've created a document that I hope will be beneficial statewide. I'll be working with chapters to build a shared local resource list, including information on supports for housing, access, low-cost clothing, and food assistance. So if you'd like to add a resource to your area, you should email her. Each chapter that submits at least one resource will be entered to win a gift from her. So Reach is looking for gift cards. Women's Wellness, Minnesota Women of Today Movement Day. I've seen a lot of people already posting on that. That is really cool. Participate and send a picture, and you're entered in the drawing. And Youth of Today, at least 10 chapters submit a project of the trimester for Kids Week, and then there will be a drawing. And 50% of the chapters are participating with 4-H or FFA. That's a really cool thing, and that would be in for a drawing. So these are all things that you can do in your chapter, be promoting in your chapter. Sometimes these are great ideas that we don't think about on our chapter, but when they come from the state and you can get involved in them, I think that's always a good thing for your chapter. It might be doing things that you're not used to doing or that you haven't done before. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, each trimester. So you early bird dues payment is due the 15th of the month prior to the last month of the trimester. So first trimester, early birds are due July 15th. And I think you usually get a certificate for early birds and your name is called for that. You can send in nominations for presidential pins. That is only given to 75 members. There is a online submission form on the website. So those go to the president. And anybody is eligible for a presidential pin except for your chapter president and your state delegate. But otherwise, everyone else is eligible for a presidential pin. So nominations for presidential medallion, those are given to the chapter presidents and the state delegates only. But anybody can nominate for that. Sometimes the district director will send in nominations for that, but your chapter can also send in nominations for your chapter president and your state delegate. And those are both very, very prestigious awards, I think, especially for new people who are getting involved. This is, I think, really important recognition for them. And I just want to make a note that the Minnesota state president sends in the nominations to the U.S. for pins on the U.S. Women of Today level. Sometimes chapters will do that also, but then the national president would send that back to the state president because those nominations come from the state president for the U.S. Outstanding program manager and the project of the trimester. I really want to talk about these because I don't think enough chapters are submitting these. And it doesn't have to be a big project. It doesn't have to be a big sharing tree or a bike rodeo. It can be something small that your chapter is doing. But what we're looking for especially is new ideas and things that chapters are doing to give other chapters ideas for projects. So any project that you have, I really encourage you to nominate for in each of the 5 programming areas. You could send in a nomination in each one of the programming areas. So you email your nominations to the appropriate SPM. If it's a living and learning activity, if it's a community connections, it would go to that SPM. So you include your contact information, chapter, type of project, dates, and a brief summary of the project, purpose, people, who it benefited, amount raised or donated, and like why you're nominating that project. So I really encourage you to talk about this in your chapters, because this is just, I don't think it's being done enough. The SPMs are always looking for projects to recognize. And this can be done by your local programming vice president. It could be done by your local, your LPM. It could be done by the chair of the whoever, whatever project it is, or anybody in your chapter, as long as they've got the information. So I really hope that people will submit these, and make it a point maybe this year to try to submit at least 1 or 2 each trimester. And then the project of, so that's the project of the trimester that I'm talking about. So no project is too big or small. I think I've said most of this. Oh, I kind of messed up. I've been talking about the project of the trimester, not the outstanding program manager. I got those mixed up. Okay, so what I've been talking about is a outstanding project of the trimester. Okay, but then also there's an outstanding program manager. And so I see that I don't have the right information in that top part. So let me talk a little bit about the outstanding program manager. So that could be your programming manager. It could be an LPM, or it could be just somebody in your chapter that has done something in a project area. Maybe they're not the LPM. Maybe they're not the programming manager, but maybe their passion is reach, and they talk about it, or they do a presentation on it, or they promote and come up with a project to do in your chapter. So recognize them even for what they've done. It doesn't have to be somebody who has a title. They don't have to be your chapter programming manager, or just somebody that's done something in that area that we would like to recognize. Okay, can you go up a little bit, Tan? Oh, not quite. A little bit down, a little bit down. Okay, thank you. Let's see. I think I've done most of this. I think I've talked about most of that. Do you have any questions about the project of the trimester or the program manager of the trimester? Okay. Okay, we can go back on then. We can go up. There you go. So nomination forms are available on the programming resource page. And if your chapter doesn't have a local program manager, the project chair can be nominated. That's what we've talked about. And they are submitted each trimester for recognition at convention. And then President Jenny is promoting Lift and Lead Awards. And these are for non-members. So not any chapter members would not be recognized in this. This is for people who have helped your chapter. It could maybe be husbands that are helping, or businesses that are helping, or somebody that has done something for you, somebody in the community that has let you use their office space or has donated something to you. That and then that is just a really good way to promote your chapter also, because then you can go into a business and present them this beautiful award. And when I've done that, they've hung it up on their bulletin boards or hung it up on their window. And so it gives you recognition, and it also gives them recognition. So that is a really great thing. And I realized later after I did this is I didn't list the certifications. And JoJo talked a little bit about that. So there, you would get, can you correct me if I'm wrong, presidents? They still give certificates out for people who complete the certifications?
Yes.
Okay. So that would be a good thing too, just especially new members, like step is, you have step 1, 2, and 3. Step 1 is for that brand new member. Step 2 is for their first year, and then step 3 is for anything after that. And the living and learning certificate or certification. And then on the US level, there's a wellness and personal development certificate. And probably that wellness and personal development certificate would come from the US, would come through the US. That would not be awarded by Minnesota. But it's great to have a certification night. We a lot of times in the wintertime have soup and certification night where we serve soup and then we work on certifications and get everybody certified in that. Okay, presented at Winter State. These are the outstanding awards that are presented at the banquet at Winter State. There is an outstanding awards manual if you have questions. These are the 3 categories. We've got outstanding person with determination. That nomination is online, I believe. Outstanding women who impact and outstanding young adult. So those nominations are all online, and they must have also Word documents. That must be what I mean. They also have Word documents online that you can download and complete. So I really encourage you to start looking at this and start thinking about this, because they're due about November 1st. I don't think that date has changed. But you can't wait too long because there's a work involved in it. You need to do some research. You need to get information and complete forms. But this is really a wonderful way for you to recognize people in your community. In all of these categories, you can submit a nomination in each one of these categories. And then they are judged by a panel of judges. And then sometimes multiple people are recognized. Sometimes one person is recognized. It just kind of depends on how many applications that they get. So start thinking about outstanding awards. I'm sure that you've seen them presented. There's some work involved in it, but it's very doable. So think about that. Then presented at annual convention are the Community Connection Awards. So those are civic or environmental project, Community Connections Award, Community Impact Award, and the Joint Ventures Award. So sometimes I think the Community Impact and that Joint Ventures Award can get, many of these can kind of cross over to different categories. So you just have to kind of pick which category you think is closest to what your application would be. And these, you've got some time to look at these, but be thinking about it. If you talk to your chapter about it, so they kind of know what each of these awards are. And there's, I'm sure, information out on the website, and you could also talk to the SPMs about these awards. But be thinking for the year, like who. So as you go through your year, who would be somebody that would be good to nominate for these awards? And that's another great way to get your chapter, not recognition for your chapter. A lot of times, if you've got a good local paper that will put information in there, and somebody who gets recognized on any of these awards on the state level, that's great PR for your paper, great PR for your chapter too, to put that in the paper and get recognition on that. So that is about all I have. Anybody have anything to add, or did I miss anything, or any questions?
Hey, Jane, this is Cindy.
Yes, Cindy.
You can also remind them if they nominate for the community member to do national too.
Oh, for the lift and lead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they have that one too.
Yeah. There's also, and I don't know what her award is called, but and on the form, on the Minnesota form, there's a place there to mark whether you just want a Minnesota or if you want just a US or if you want both. So then that would get sent on from Minnesota sent on to national. So you don't have to do two, you don't have to apply for in both places. You can do one form that will get both awards for you if you want. Does that make sense? Okay. Thank you, Cindy. Anybody else have? Yep.
I just wanted to make one comment on the presidential pins and the medallions. Keep in mind when you're writing those up that we have almost 1,000 members. So if the treasurer is doing the treasurer job, that's great. But what is she doing above and beyond? So just yeah. Jane, you want to reiterate, you know what I'm trying to say? Reiterate what I'm
right, because there's only 75 members that are recognized with a pin. So, that's when you look at 1,000 members, that's not many. So they're looking for people who have doing their positions, but also going above and beyond. So make sure that you talk about what they're doing, yes, but also new ideas that they have, or new things that they've tried, or new things they brought to the chapter, or anything like that they're doing to help. It's as being a past president, that's a difficult job to look at all of those nominations and try to decipher which ones you want to award pins to. So the more information that you can give, the more specific information you give, makes that nomination much better.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to say.
And also understand that if you nominate 10 or so members from your chapter, they're not all going to receive them.
Yeah, right. Because the president tries to, spread them out over the chapters. So yes, that it might be just, a certain number of the people in your chapter. So then she's trying to look at maybe those people that have made the most impact, maybe those newer members that need a little more encouragement. Seasoned members, we like to recognize them also, but those new members, I think it's real important to recognize. So there's a question. Oh, it just left. What was that question? Is it the president that decides, or is there a committee? It is the state president that makes that decision.
This is Kat Schumann. Can I add one other thing? When you're doing pin nominations, even if your members do not get awarded that at the state level, please recognize them at your local level. Give them a copy of the submission and let them know how important they are to your chapter. Thank you.
That's a great idea, Kat.
Yep.
Or, I just want to add,
yep.
Only having 75 is really hard. And I had way more than that for both pins and medallions nominations this year. And it was very difficult. I had help, but my point is, I wish I had 300 or 1,000 to give out because you're all amazing people and you're all doing amazing things.
And I would even take that one step further on your chapter level. Maybe create a local award. Maybe they don't even need to know that you nominate them on the state level and they didn't get it. Maybe just create a local award that's whatever name the president wants to do. And so recognize those people on the chapter level with something. Doesn't have to be a medallion. It could be anything, but just to recognize, have a little reading or whatever. And that is important too. That recognition is so important to people, to all of us, right? We all want to be recognized. We all want to be thanked for what we're doing. Good.
That's a great idea.
Good conversation. Any other questions or any other comments? Okay.
All right. Good job. Thanks, Jane. Appreciate all your information. All right. Andrea, are you still on?
Thanks, Jane.
Yes.
I am.
All right, we're going to turn it over to you.
All right. What do you guys see?
Your PowerPoint.
Okay. There we go. All right, there we go. Sorry. I was struggling because I have 3 screens. So here we go. So this is a topic that came up a lot last year across multiple trainings and throughout different conventions and stuff. We had opportunity for people to attend like forums on communications and that. And this was one that kept cycling back. It's also one that I experienced personally and watched others experience throughout the year. But accepting and giving constructive criticism or feedback. When I was asked what would be a topic, I threw this out there and then they were like, all right, do it. So I hope this is helpful. I can share this PowerPoint out and yeah, I'll get going on it. So the first thing I just want to go through is criticism versus feedback, because they are 2 very different things. Feedback is forward-looking, it's actionable, it's about a past behavior that you deliver in current time that you hope will influence the future. Criticism is typically backward-looking, and a lot of times you're placing blame or pointing out somebody's shortcoming. It's often felt as a personal attack rather than a helpful tool. So as I go through these and I talk about the differences of these, I want you to think about when you have maybe experienced them, whether you have given the criticism or feedback or whether you've received it. I know that I've said multiple times, people never forget how someone made them feel. And a lot of times that comes with feedback and criticism. So think about how you would want to receive it when you are giving your criticism out. When you look at the 2 different, there's 4 basic areas: the focus, the intent of it, the tone of it, and the scope of it. And I know when we've talked about communication, we've talked about like, how did you sound? What kind of an effective communicator are you? What did you say? How fast did you speak? And this has been a reoccurring theme just to try to get people to stop and think about it. So do you want somebody to examine your past and point out your shortcomings, or would you rather them try to support you so you could do better next time? Do you want to build somebody up, or are you just looking to point out the negative? The tone is really a big deal when you're talking to people. And I've even had to correct myself and say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to sound like that. But when you give feedback, it's usually solution oriented, it's objective, you're having a conversation. And when you give criticism, a lot of times it's a lot more harsher and it's very often emotionally based. You saw something, you didn't like it, and you say something right away. Or you experienced something at an event and it upset you, so you wanted to go tell the coordinator how they could do better. And as volunteers, we're just all trying to do the best that we can out there. We're trying to provide events, services, experiences, opportunities to our communities, to our members. And it's really hard sometimes after you've poured a lot of your heart and soul into a project that you're passionate about to have somebody come up and make one comment, and it's usually a criticism. It's not useful. It's their personal opinion, and it taints your whole experience for that day. So I just challenge you to think about that before you give criticism, and maybe think about, how can I give this as feedback better? And then your scope. So are you there to target a behavior, a process, rather than a person? Usually criticism, you're attacking a personal trait or a general character or person. Feedback, you're looking at a process or behavior. So those are some of the differences between the 2. So I'm going to start with accepting criticism. They kind of mingle back and forth between each other. So we will be hopping back and forth between those and topics. Here, where's my next button? go. So before you spiral or react, or you feel like you're going to fall off the edge of this building, let's take a pause and let's think about it. And this is on both ways. But when you're accepting feedback, when you hear that, there are many things that you can do. The first biggest thing you can do is ask for clarification. Someone, they don't know why you chose what you did. They don't know how it happened. Like, why would we have these awards given out at this time? It makes much more sense to be over there. You can ask, oh, that's interesting. Can you explain to me why you think that would be a better option? Because there might be something you're missing. So when you're accepting feedback, pause and think, ask clarification. Consider it might just be a difference opinion. That it happens. You don't always agree on everything, and that just might be what this is. It also might be feedback that is on a detail, like I didn't really like the color pink for our streamers on that. I thought blue would have looked better. You can do that in a discussion way. You don't have to do it in a negative way. You can also look at a variety of different reasons for why you chose what you did, if there was something else that coincided with it. And at the end of the day, there might not be an answer to it. It was just their personal opinion versus yours. And that's where pause, think again. The next one is, this one's hard for me sometimes. Test it before you reject it. When you have a vision in your head and that's how you think it should go, you're not very open to other people telling you how you could change something, even if it's a positive thing. So maybe you need to try that out. Maybe don't be as reactive, pause, think about how it might work out. Maybe the next time you do an event or hold a meeting or approach that subject, maybe try it in the way that you receive that feedback. And if it didn't work, then it didn't work. But at least you didn't just shove it off to begin with, if that makes sense. Sometimes receiving feedback, you need to distance yourself from it. You need to take and put yourself outside the situation, give your head a break. I know that if I'm upset about something, I'll stew on it. And stewing is not always a positive thing. I actually don't know that it's ever a positive thing because you downward spiral. So if you can distance yourself from the feedback, just to take that pause and think about it and then come back to it, you might have a better reaction to it. It might not have seemed as bad because you might have received that feedback when you were in a different mental or emotional state. So just give yourself some grace and separate yourself from it. The next one is a really big one, and I struggle with this too, is the juice worth the squeeze? Someone might give you feedback and you might want to be reactive. You might want to fight with them on it, but it might not be worth it at the end of the day. You might be the only one worked up about this situation. The person that made that offhand comment, gave you that feedback, gave you that criticism, they were like, I think it would have been better this way. And they walked away from it and they haven't thought about it again. So think about when you're receiving feedback, how impactful it is. If it is worth your time, is it worth getting worked up about, and is it worth changing? So that's taking time again. And then sometimes when you receive feedback, if you can provide your feeling or perspective, it might help them understand where you were coming from. But if you were doing this, please give time before doing it. The person needs to know that their feedback affected you, maybe because as someone giving it, it's a learning opportunity for them to understand their approach at giving feedback. So when you're receiving it, it's important that you also maybe have a voice and say, hey, I don't really like how that went. It would have been better if you would have did it this way, maybe. So don't be afraid to push back a little bit on feedback. The next one is give yourself time and grace. You might need to table it for a different time. If you're emotional, if your head is mentally not in that discussion, if you are in a hurry and moving on to the next thing, and somebody made a comment to you or gave you feedback or said, hey, that was a great presentation, but I really like this, or this. Sometimes you need to table it. You need to say, okay, I'm going to do this, and then I'll think about it again. So schedule that. Don't say I'll think about it later. Make a note of it so you do circle back, so that it's not something that potentially happens a second time and then someone comes up to you and said, oh, I thought I told you next time at this event we're setting the tables up this way. Don't you remember? And you probably will at that moment, but you're already back into this situation. So writing it down to review it at a different time is a really useful thing when receiving feedback. It allows you to be in a different mental state, emotional state. It allows you to calm down, and then give yourself some grace, because maybe when you were doing whatever you were doing for your project, you were working at half capacity and they don't know that. So you're like, okay, maybe I was off the mark this time and I can do better next time. And the last thing that I think for accepting feedback, sometimes there's just nothing to say except for thank you. Hey, thanks for the feedback. And move along. You don't have to be reactive. You don't have to provide explanation. You don't have to put a lot of stock or time in it. You can literally just say thank you and continue on. That also lets the person giving you that feedback know that you heard them, because you're acknowledging them, but it doesn't mean that you're going to change everything for them. It's just, hey, thanks. And I feel like a lot of people sometimes struggle to hear feedback, or in the same way that we struggle to hear compliments. I really struggle being told, yo, you did a really good job. I'm like, yep, thanks. Yep, it's whatever. That's just how it worked out. It's fine. So I think it's really important to just say thank you and leave it at that. So that's kind of what I had there for accepting feedback. And this is something that I like to think about. I was taught this, someone said this a few years ago, and I'll never forget it. If somebody is giving you constructive feedback, they're choosing to spend their time thinking about you, your work, or your project. It can be a valuable contribution to your learning curve that'll support you and help you grow. So when you're giving feedback, consider that, but also when you're accepting it. Someone's taken their time to do that to you, or provide that information to you, to give that information. So it can be a very nice learning tool. It's a silver lining of sometimes being upset that somebody told you you could have did better, because that might be how you feel about it. So that's something that I like to look at for that. And then I have giving criticism, I can't talk today. Giving criticism and feedback. So we talked about accepting it, but on the flip side of that is giving it. And these are very interchangeable, so I've already lapsed into some of the topics, but I just wanted to point out like things to write down, things to consider or think about when you're in any of these situations. I think every single person on this call has received feedback in some way, and they've also given it. So, and the last one I said, before you spiral, think, pause, before you attack, breathe. So when you're giving feedback, focus on the behavior, not necessarily the person. Sometimes you may not be a fan of a person that's doing something, and that will taint how you feel about that project, that event, or that communication. Of course, she would say that to me, right? But separate that person from whatever the behavior is. That is one way to give good feedback, because even you can give feedback to people you don't like all the time, and it can be very positive. You don't have to be mean about it. Think about what you want versus what you don't want. People tend to naturally be more negative, more pessimistic, more self-conscious, more self-analytical. They're very negative self-talk. It's something that over the last couple of years we've really tried to flip the switch on with between negative self-talk and random acts of kindness and being kind to people and supporting people. So when you are giving criticism, don't point out all the negative, maybe point out the positive in a way that they can make it better. Instead of saying, this was horrible, we don't want that. You can say, so this is what you did, and that was great, but I think this could be better. Just the two approaches there. So something could be a little bit better than what you did versus, oh, we don't want that. So it's all in how you're wording it, how you're saying it. And when you're doing that, use the who, what, where, when, why. Be specific. Like, this was great, but because of this, or this is our target audience, we want it could be better this way, maybe. So that's number 2. And then we have recognize when behavior can be changed. So this is something that I know that I personally struggle with, and I like to present on things that I relate to, I guess. But sometimes people have a certain behavior and that's what it is. So when you're receiving that feedback, it's crappy that they might always have something to say that's negative, but that doesn't mean that you have to buy what they're selling. So recognize the person giving it, recognize their tendencies, and recognize if that can even be changed. Maybe you naturally talk slow and people can't handle that. That might be a behavior that can't totally be changed. So giving that feedback doesn't do anything. It just provides another negative situation. And you're going to prevent that person from growing or doing better or moving on or taking on more in your chapter. So recognize when the behavior actually can be changed and when that feedback is useful. Other thing to think about is, where are you emotionally or mentally? So you might be really upset that something didn't go your way. So you're going to walk up to somebody at an event and let them know that right in front of everybody, really upset, emotionally charged. And when you emotionally react to things, you usually react in an extreme. You usually say something you don't want to, or act in a certain way you don't want to. So before you fly off the handle, before you attack, breathe a minute, see where you are emotionally, think about what you have to say, how it's going to affect that person, and it folds into the next one, the time and the place. If somebody is going to get up to give a speech or present something or start a program, coming up to them 5 minutes before they do that is not the time to say, hey, we just really didn't like that you put these people at the end of the program. They should be at the front. That's not something they can change 5 minutes beforehand. It's usually already printed in the program and it's out there. That's something we can change next year or at the next event. So think about your time when you approach people. Also, think about how that's going to affect that person to now do the job that they have to do. You don't want to come at somebody right before they have to present to people, right before they have to start a project, right before they have to lead an event that you guys are hosting. So time and place is a really big thing. The other part of place is one-on-one or with a smaller group is usually a better place to give somebody feedback to correct something you may or may not be happy with. Out in public, in front of the world or an audience, is just not the place. People tend to shut down. They don't respond. They feel shame when they feel that emotional disturbance. They're not listening to you anymore. So your feedback is falling on deaf ears. They're just going to remember how you made them feel and how traumatized they were. They're not going to think, oh, she actually had a point. Maybe I should have changed this for next time. So time and place is a very big thing. The next one for giving feedback is, and it falls in line with the want, don't want. Ask someone, don't demand them. Ask like, hey, can we have a discussion about this? I think this could be better, or I think this was a downfall of the project. Can we improve this? Ask for their input on how they thought things went or how they wanted the outcome to be, what their vision looked like. Don't just tell them, next time, we're not giving any of the kids freezies. That was a horrible idea. Not doing it. So ask them, like, do you really think that was the best idea at the father-daughter dance to give them freezies in their nice fluffy white dresses and now they have red and blue freezy all over them? Let's talk about this. That might not have been the best idea versus saying we will never do that again. You might feel that after you see all the ruined dresses, but it's your approach in the person that was coordinating. So if you ask, it's a more positive approach versus coming in and demanding. It's that feeling attacked again. The next one, it's a classic, the compliment sandwich. And for those that don't know what a compliment sandwich is, or it's a feedback sandwich, is you're going to start out with a compliment, something you really liked about it, give them a little bit of something they could have improved, and then wrap it back up with a nice compliment. So it's a compliment, a feedback, and a compliment. It hides the feedback a little bit sometimes if it's a negative feedback, and it leaves the person on a positive note. So they heard like, oh, that went really well. They think I could do this better. And they were very happy that we even put this event on for our community. So it just provides feedback in a more positive, more accepting way. Number 8 is huge. Don't threaten people. Don't give ultimatums. This event goes like that again, we're never going to give you money again. This doesn't work. It goes in extreme. When you're working in extremes, emotions are heightened, rash decisions are made. So really trying to approach everything calm. So breathe before you attack. And this was a big one that we discussed at the LOTS training, but do not say but. That was a really great thing that you just said. That was a really great presentation. But as soon as you say but, everything you said before it disappears. So try to word it so it's not such a but, if that makes sense. Be cautious of saying but. It's a hot word. Let's see here. This is just a list of criteria. I didn't know if I was going to keep this in here, but determining if the criticism makes sense, if it's something that is worth your while. So things to think about when you're giving it. Is it a specific behavior they've had their life? Do you think that your feedback is going to make them all of a sudden change? Or is this a feedback that you're going to need to maybe work on over time and set some goals with? So think of your approach for that. Are they interested in making a change? Is it in their system to do that? Some people are very, very strongly committed to what they think, and they aren't going to change no matter what you ask of them. So all you can do is try to be a part of it and support the situation for the outcome that might be better. I know that we have a lot of difficult conversations in Women of Today. There's a lot of different personalities, but there's a lot of people with a lot of passion. And that's what drives some of these conflicts is people are very, very passionate about very specific things. And understanding what makes them passionate about it and where they're coming from is it's a foundation to start having that conversation for feedback. The next one is the same as the juice versus the squeeze. How much energy would it take for this to change? And is it worth it? So, yeah, maybe the tables look really silly set up that way for the event and it affects the flow. But, Tanya's just really, really adamant it has to go that way. And it ultimately doesn't hurt anybody. The project always happens without a hitch. I just got to let go that that's what it's going to be. And then think about when you give feedback, is this particular behavior or change the most important thing for you? Or is it the most important thing for the organization? Will it yield a better result for your chapter if this changes? Or is it just something you personally want changed? And then I had mentioned this before when I talked about the attack. This person may not want to change something because there's shame attached to it. And that behavior is shameful to them. If you criticize them about it, they kind of turn inward. So that's where you have to take a more positive approach, give some grace, and then consider if the end goal is worth what you're going to put that person through to get there. So that's just things to think about. And then there's a handful of different ones out there. I just included this one. There is the feedback staircase, there's a feedback ladder, there's a handful of things, but I like this one because it pulls from both sides of the accepting and the giving. So when you receive feedback, you might deny it right away, like, no, there's no problem, nothing wrong with that. And then you kind of go to the next one, and you might be defensive of what you chose versus what somebody else is telling you. If you take the time to explain that, have that healthy conversation, have that positive approach, see where both sides are coming from, look outside that box, it can go to the next step of understanding, like, oh, I understand where you're coming from. Just because you get to that step of understanding, oh, I understand where you're coming from, it does not mean that you're going to change. It might say, I understand where you're coming from. We're still going to do it this way, but maybe we can change this to accommodate it. It'll not be the actual item that you provided feedback on that changes, but maybe a different aspect of your event or your meeting that's going to change that will provide a better outcome overall. So these are just steps to think about when you receive feedback. When I say give yourself some grace, take some time to think about it. Take yourself through the staircase. Think about, like, am I just denying that this is a problem? Should I be upset about this? Can I explain myself? Can they explain themselves? When you offer feedback, be ready to offer an explanation other than I just like it this way. And then once you get to understanding, you'll determine if change is something that you can actually achieve. And I will share this PowerPoint out just because there's a number of models for feedback, and these are both in accepting and receiving them. The four biggest ones are the SBI model, the GROW model, the COIN model, and the CEDAR model. Has anybody heard of any of these before? They all have a little bit, I'm going to go through each one. But so we have the SBI model. It's highly actionable, straightforward. It's good for performance improvement. So these all come from a little bit different background for feedback, but SBI stands for situation, behavior, and impact. So it's all coming back down to having a conversation, being specific about what you need. So describe the situation with specifics, the behavior that was observed, and then describe the impact the behavior had. So this might be how a member is acting within your chapter. This might be a better report approach for that. Might be somebody overcommitting to, I can take on this project, I can take on that project, I can take on that project. And then they fall short, they overcommit, they don't have the time. The impact it has on your chapter is you have projects that are being completed, public events that are outward facing and people see, that are maybe not maximized to the best of their ability, or being the best that they can be because one person is doing it. And I know that we frequently see chapters that cycle through where there is a few dominant people that do a lot of the projects. They're in charge of a lot of things. They're maybe president for like 3 years. This is a breakdown of, like, describe the situation, describe the behavior, and the impact. So you can see the impact on the chapter is that it's a little bit unhealthy because it's very one-sided, or it's got a click going, or you're in a rut. So that's SBI. The GROW model. So this is more of a consultative approach that gives feedback with coaching. It allows for goal setting and potential change. So when you're giving the feedback, you have to think about, like, what's the actual goal you want to achieve by giving this feedback? What's the reality of it? Like, where we are now and where you want them to be? What options do you have to get there? And then what it looks like to get to the end of that. How can we reach that goal? We talk about setting SMART goals that are measurable, attainable, timely. GROW goes in with that. And these are, I understand these are all big, long, thought out processes. And I really hope the biggest thing you take away from this presentation is to stop and think before you have conversations about different things. Just because being reactive and being over emotional, I think, is where a lot of the tension comes from in some of the situations, activities, and events that we have in Women of Today. So if we just pause for a minute and give ourselves a chance to think about stuff, we'll do better. The next of the models is the coin model. This one's emphasizes relationship building alongside feedback. So this could be, excuse me, members' behavior as well. So you want to give them context. So describe the situation, be specific. Where did it take place? How many people were involved? What were the circumstances? The observation, describe the events that occurred in an objective way. So being objective can be hard sometimes because you are personally involved, you have a personal dog in this fight, and you're emotionally connected to it. So make sure that when you are providing feedback, you are being objective. It's not a personal preference. Here we talk again about the impact that it has on the event, how it has on not just your members, but maybe the general public. And then next steps. So how can we improve it? And I spoke about giving feedback previously, a few slides back, that how can we improve this? Ask questions, have the conversation versus just telling them, asking them. So that's the coin method. And then the last one here is the cedar model. This one is collaborative approach. It's useful for both positive and developmental feedback. And in all of these, I think that you should approach it and think about it from the side of the person giving the feedback and the person receiving the feedback, or the group or the event. So again, these are all kind of mirroring, but they have a couple different steps in them. So the context, describe where, what, the behavior. Try to give an example of behavior or a situation that didn't work, but be cautious when giving examples. If you give every example there possibly is for how this person fell short, that's really going to beat them down. It's not going to be a positive outcome. So maybe pick 2 or 3 or 1 and just say this was a really good example of what doesn't work very well or how this negatively impacted, and then analyze it. So if you're going to step up to the plate and say, this didn't work, I don't like this, we need to get done with this, I hope that you, as a person providing feedback and criticism, has an idea in your head what would work. It's really hard to demand for a change when you don't provide any supporting conversations on how you want that change. So have examples in your head how you think things could work out, how your meeting should run. And then actions. So establish guidelines for your actions. This would be making the goals. This would be setting boundaries, setting limits. We can do this event, but if we lose money, we aren't doing it anymore. Or if we lose money, we're dialing it back next year and we'll only do this much of it. So write your actions out, set that down and be intentional about it. And then review. So this would be at your meeting. Review how this went down. Review if it was positive, if it impacted the community, if how labor intensive it was for your chapter. Is the juice worth the squeeze? So that is the cedar model. And then this is so true. Every life experience you have the opportunity to grow. So giving feedback effectively, it's a skill. And like all skills, it takes practice to build your confidence and to improve. So if you have an altercation or you suggest feedback and it's not very well received or didn't go the way that you think it should have, and you're very upset about it, that's your chance to give yourself some grace, some time, look at the situation and see how maybe next time you can approach it. Maybe next time don't come in so hot, don't attack them so strong. Or maybe don't supply a dozen ways that they failed, maybe just 1 or 2. So as you practice giving feedback, you get better at it, like anything. And then That is all I have. And I think that puts me at time. So, are there questions for that? Anybody?
I think that we can use a lot of these tips and stuff at at our jobs and at home as well.
Great
Yeah.
presentation. Yep, I agree.
I just know that in Women of Today, I've learned a lot about myself over I don't know, I never remember 7, 8, 9 years, whatever it's been that I've been a member, between a couple different chapters, having different positions. There's always opportunity to grow, and there have been times of just falling completely flat. And when someone provided feedback to me, sometimes it was really positive and it encouraged me to do better, to try it again, to take a different approach. And then sometimes I walked away and said, I'm never doing that again. Nobody can make me. I'm done. And it's because of how that feedback was given to me, how I was approached for it. So I think feedback is really, really important, and understanding how to communicate with it and receive it and give it is a really big situation. It can literally change someone's day if it's done wrong. They can have a horrible day when it's done wrong, or it can create a very positive change for your chapter or a person when done right. So, does anybody have any like scenarios or experiences they'd want to share where a feedback was a positive thing, or maybe you received it and it wasn't so positive, but you personally learned that they want to share? No? Okay.
We have a quiet group, Andrea.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrea. That was really good information. Does anybody have any comments on anything that you've heard tonight, or have any questions that have popped up that you want to ask? President Jenny's on, if anybody has questions for her.
I think all three of the presentations were wonderful. Just by looking at the participation tonight, the topics that you guys have chosen for the first webinar were fantastic, because I'm sure each and every one of us have learned something from each and every one that did their talk tonight. So I just want to say thank you to all three of the people who did the presentations. You guys were great and learned a lot tonight. Thank you.
I'll
Thanks,
second
Cindy.
that. I agree.
Yeah, me too.
I think we needed this to get our year off to
Great
a
job.
good start.
Yeah.
I think
Good
this
job.
is something that's great.
We've been really working hard the last year to listen to you, the members, and what you want. So if you have topics that you would like to hear more about, or shoot them to President Jenny or anybody on staff, and they can share.
I was going to say it was really informative about the awards and stuff. I really liked that a lot. So
Good. And if you have trouble finding, they're all online. Does everybody know where to find them? Tanny, anybody want to just take a minute and look at the website and where like those medallions are and where the program, do you want to do that or not?
Sure. I can do that quickly.
Okay.
Let me get it up here and then I will share.
Is there anyone that would come and help Bryce just to go through how to do success, like step by step? We can get it.
Right. Jojo would be happy to help you. And you could even do a Zoom, actually.
Yeah, we could do it Zoom, or I can take a drive. I mean,
Okay.
I don't mind at all. So just
Abby, was that you that
contact me.
asked that? Or who asked? Who from Rice asked that question?
Oh, nope, that was Carrie.
Carrie.
It was Carrie?
Yep.
Okay.
We have a few people in our pocket that we were debating about talking to receive help on success. But so now we have a third person, JoJo, so we can
JoJo would be the excellent choice. She's our success coordinator and she knows it front and back.
Yep.
So
And I'm more than happy to help. I mean, we can get you going.
Yeah, we're really trying to go for it this year if we can.
Yeah. We'll get
so
you there.
did you get JoJo's number? Carrie or Abby?
No, but I can rewatch the program or I can email.
Yep. Otherwise
Uh,
it's my
JoJo,
my phone
okay.
number is 612-709-2717. And some of you that have done success before, like Carrie, I think I have your phone number in my phone.
Yep.
So if your name comes up, I'll answer, but if it's a number, I won't answer. And just know that I will call you right back.
Yeah, I
If you
totally
leave a
understand.
message. So
Yep.
I do that too, JoJo. In fact, I tell people to send me a text and just say, this is blah, blah, blah. I'm going to give you a call, or is this a good time to call, or whatever. So, yeah, I
yeah,
get it.
last year with success, I tried to put everybody's phone number in my phone. So when you called or texted or something, I knew who was calling. So I would answer
All
right
right.
away. So
Okay. All right, Tanya.
Okay. So to find the webinars, this is the very first screen of the website when you log or when you put in the mnwt.org, and you just want to go to the members homepage, just hover over it, and then the drop down will come up like this. And you want to go to training resources. So it's the members homepage, just hover over it for the drop down to come. Go to training resources, click on that. And then if you scroll down, here is our webinars.
Okay.
And
can you show us where we make our medallion nominations?
Yep, I can do that next.
And our programming projects of the try and stuff?
Yep.
Okay.
So hover over members homepage again. And if you go to state leadership and you go to president, you can do your medallion nominations by clicking on the president. And scrolling down, and then right here is president medallions and president pin nominations. And if you just click, so I'm going to click on the pin nomination, on the president pin nomination. And here is the form, or you can do the email me form where you click on that and you can fill it in. So this, and then on the bottom, once you have everything filled in, you can hit submit on the bottom and it'll go right to President Jenny. So that is for the pin and medallion nominations. And let me go back. And then the project nominations, if you go to state leadership and go to programming, they will be under, let's say you were doing, let's just pick programming vice president first. Here would be like the outstanding program manager nomination. The very first one is the PDF, and then you can do the email me form where you can fill it in and then hit submit, and then it'll go. Same thing with the project of the trimester. And then if you're looking for the ones
Kenny,
that
aren't they
are,
also under the programming resources as well?
they are too. I just
Yeah,
wanted
okay.
to show them in case they were like, oh, I want to do the
Okay.
community connection one. They could go to the
Okay.
community connection link. SPM. Otherwise, you can find them here under the programming resources. Right here is the different ones here. Outstanding program manager, the outstanding project of the trimester. And then here is your PEP course, the Living and Learning Certificates PEP course, if you're wanting to rent one, doing a certificate for that. Here's for your outstanding awards. And here's your community connection ones, for the ones that are given out at annual. These all have the PDFs, and then they also have the email me forms on them. If we do have a Word document, it will say Word form next to it, like under these outstanding awards. They have a PDF, the email me form, and a Word form. You only have to do one of them, but there's an option depending on how you feel comfortable filling them out. Is there any other ones that you guys want to see, or know where things are at?
I think the website's getting better all the time. It's making it so much easier for people that don't just go out and play on it. It's kind of fun.
Maybe
How
you
about
can
the
show
community awards?
Community awards?
That's not
Like
the bottom of this one.
Yeah, they're down on the bottom of the programming resources. So right here. Community connections, the community, the civic, the community impact, and the joint ventures. I know Jane had said about the lift and lead. That is under President Jenny's page, if you're looking for that one.
Do you want to go in and just show them where the success form and guidelines are as well? That's under chapter management.
Yes. So again, hover over, go to the chapter management resources. You click on it. And scroll down. Right there is the success form. Guidelines.
That training tool is that one that we need to update yet. And so I'm going to work with Tanya on that and make sure that that's updated for anybody that wants to use that too.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
And that form, for success, that's updated now?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And if you scroll down on the chapter management resources, you'll find under like the success, then you'll go down a little further. Here's your fast starts. They have a PDF form or the email me form.
Anything else anybody wants to?
So when we did our first presidents to president talk, Jenny's form that we fill out, the lift one. And I was talking to Michelle was on there, CMVP, and is there any way that could be done so you would be able to fill it in, like a fill in, instead of, it's not it's now an online, so you can actually fill it out right on there now?
Yep.
Okay. Wonderful. Oh, that's great. Instead of having to print them off and then emailing them in okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Jenny and I worked on that after you guys had your talk. So it's there now.
Wonderful. That's great. Thanks.
Yep. So there's the PDF form, and then there is a Google Online form.
Can you click on the Google Online form? If I could see that. Oh, wonderful. I like that. Okay, great.
And you just fill it in kind of just like the
like you
paper.
do it like a nomination or a pin nomination or something. Oh, good.
Yes. And then you just, after it's all done, hit submit down there.
Submit it then. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I make a quick comment?
Yep.
That sounds like some positive feedback that followed through. I love it.
I do too. I really do. That's awesome. I'm like, wow, that's great.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So if you guys have anything else that you guys want to see on the website that maybe will be helpful for you guys, just let us know. I can definitely see what we can do about it.
Now, if people want to know where the STEP certifications are, you could go on the US Women of Today page because they are not, are they on the Minnesota page underneath membership? So maybe people might want to know where their STEP certifications are.
Can you take us back to the member resources?
Yes.
Please.
The membership resources or the homepage?
Yeah. Yeah.
This one? Okay.
That one. Yep. It's on other pages as well, but the US link is right there at the top.
Yep.
Oh yeah. That way people can start filling out their STEP certifications when signing new members and stuff.
Yes.
So that's one easy way to get over there.
Membership resources.
Yep. And there it's on a couple different pages to it. You'll see where it says for all of the US Women of Today forms or resources, you can find them and it'll have the link to the US website.
Nice.
I'm going to show you the members homepage too, unless somebody else has more questions. So I'm going to show you where to find a couple other things.
Go for it.
Okay, so on the members homepage, in order to open it up, you do have to click on the members homepage on top there. I just always say to hover over first in case you want any of the drop downs. So here is our members homepage. If you scroll down a little bit on the top here, I have a link to our network solution email for the Women of Today. So if you're ever looking at, let's say you had a link saved and it isn't working or it accidentally got deleted off your computer, you can come to the here and you can get into the network solutions email to put in your chapter's email and password to get in and check your guys' emails. Right below that is the add change form for the new members or if there's any member changes. And then right under that is the chapter officer sheets that I always say right after you guys, or actually I always say at the annual convention, you know, it's now time to fill out your new chapter officers sheets after getting your new board going starting May 1st. This is where you can find that. And it is a Google form like the one that was on Jenny's page that you just fill all the information out and it comes straight to me.
I have a question.
Yep.
This is Lori Lilly. Like, where do we find things like how to make potpourri and stuff? Is there an area in there that has those kind of little things?
Yes. So
membership
under the members homepage again, if you go to the project library, we are working on as people send them in to get them added to our list here. So here's our different projects. We have projects, membership events, fundraisers, and then the random acts of kindness that people had turned in. So all you do is let's say it's what a girl wants, you just click on it, and here is the form of how to do that project.
Okay, yeah, I didn't see like the the little ones like the potpourri and stuff like that though, to like do a district meeting. So
okay, yeah. And if they're not on here, when we switched over the website, some of them we don't have anymore. So go ahead and submit them if you have the information, and we will get them back on the website.
Right. Okay, sounds great. Thanks for the answer. Appreciate it.
Yep.
I have a really quick question. So we were looking over our roster that we just got, and there's some like little tiny errors on there. Like there might be the wrong city because we, have people that live in 2 different cities, or like an email address is wrong. Do you need to resubmit that whole person's information then, right, to get that changed?
If you're using the US add change form, yes. But if it's, let's say, like just the zip code, you can email me also at csc@mnwt and just let me know, hey, on our roster here, this person, the zip code was wrong. You can always send it to me too.
Repeat your email again?
Yep. csc@mnwt.org.
Okay. Yeah, because otherwise it's like it's a lot of work to redo that whole thing just for a zip code or a city.
Right. Nope, I get that.
So just include their name and just say this is the wrong they have the wrong zip code, this is the right zip code.
Yes, yes, that would be
And
great.
that will get changed on that form like the next time it gets sent out then.
Yes, yep. So that'll come out because they come out once a trimester. So it
Okay.
should be on the next trimester.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Tanny want to add that those that come from the US.
Oh, yes, the rosters that you guys all get come from the US. So if there's an issue or whatever, let me know and I can make sure that they're right on our side and then also make sure they get right on the US side. But the ones that you guys are seeing, the rosters and the dues billings are all coming from US. It's just that we send them out to you guys. I get them from her first.
Good
Thank you,
questions.
Shirley.
Anybody have anything else they want to ask or want to know where to find?
Oh, I do have something else I'll show you guys. Here is our events. I just thought about it. I'm looking at it. So if you're looking for like convention information or our calendar for the year, any committee meetings, trainings, webinars, like where to find the information, district meetings, they're all under the events. Just hover over it and click on what you want to look at. I'm just going to click on the district meeting one. So here you go. This was the district meetings for this coming first try. And if you keep scrolling down, you'll find events that the districts might have that we know about that have been turned in. They're on here. As we're getting the district or the trimester 2 district meetings, we're adding them. Same thing with the tri 3. And then the regional meetings are here. As I get more information, we will get them added in there.
I got one more thing. I just saw this. So when Jane was talking about all the different incentives, they're all in the CIPs. So if they're not getting paper CIPs, where would they look for that?
Hover over the members homepage and go to publications.
All right.
And on this page, you can find our newsletters as we have them. You can find our state plan of action, the bylaws, policies. And scroll down, you'll find the chapter mailing highlights. And then the chapter information packets, the CIPs. So all the MnJOTS ones are in here from just this year. The ones from Fall State and the Winter State are from last year. As soon as it's usually around the Wednesday before convention, but not before then. We will get them into here. So not before Wednesday before convention, but the Wednesday before we will get them on like for Fall State. So September, right before convention, we'll have them in there so you can go look at what's on there. Or you can wait until after convention, but they'll be here. And if you do want paper copies, you have if you fill out the chapter information form on the members homepage, make sure you check that you want paper copies. Because if I don't get the new chapter information sheet that say that you want paper copies, each year it gets reset. So everybody goes to electronic, that you have to come on here and find them unless you let me know. Go ahead, Shirley.
I was just going to say, so I would encourage you to take a look at some of those CIPs, even if you're not like your chapter secretary, you can still, take a look at those. They're good. There's lots of information in there and it's a good learning tool as well.
And then down a little bit further, we do have the meeting minutes. So you can look at those too.
All right. Anybody have anything else they want to ask or talk about? Thank you, Tanya, for all the for helping out here and for all the information. Also appreciate Andrea and JoJo and Jane for their presentations. And thank you to all the members who popped on. I hope you all picked up something. It is fun to see your smiling faces. So have a great summer. Don't forget community meetings are coming up July 20. I'll put a little plug in 25th, I believe, in Eden Prairie.
Yes.
Michelle, you want to put a plug for the, I don't remember the date of your President's Day Delegate Retreat? Is it August something?
August 8th.
August 8th.
August 8th. Anybody else got a plug? All right. Have a great summer. We'll see you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks so much for popping on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.